Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. Okay, I'm trying to do the videos a little bit early, and so this is another lunch, a cheap lunch. Okay, the first thing I have is one of these cups of noodles. I have various kinds of top ramen, but in this one you get a few vegetables, so this is a little bit more expensive by 10 cents, but it's kind of worth it. Also, it might be a little less top ramen, I'm not sure. I have another good one, so I heated it so I could get it out of the plastic thing. Okay. All right. So, yesterday I was shopping around instead of going to the gym, and I thought, wow, you should have gone to the gym, and so I have 2 hot dogs. Okay, I had a big package of hot dogs, and I think I have 4 left, and I bought the big package of hot dogs for, I think $3.99 for 16, so I want to change places. Oh, thanks for the comment. You shouldn't be burning a candle by that hot oil. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that is why you really should try to do the videos earlier. So you don't blow yourself up. Okay, so now I want to make a small batch of fry bread. If something happens, it's just going to be so bad. This one turned out good, I can tell, and I haven't even fried it yet. But the thing is, this is not the cheapest bread because it involves oil. There's cheaper oils, but right now I have a lot of where's my flour? A lot of olive oil, and it does taste better. So this is a really, let me show you something. See what a soft dough this was? They come out different every time, and so this one's really soft. So also I'm trying to discover the least amount of oil that'll work for me to fry this. So, that will kind of offset the price. So think about the fry bread is kind of like a biscuit, kind of. So if I was making biscuits, it would be kind of the same. Only this dough sets for 20 to 30 minutes. So tonight, it's really kind of lunch. I'm going to make big ones. So, fairly big ones. Sometimes I make them small, but I want to make these kind of like, almost like a flatbread. So, yesterday I felt very uneasy, and I go, why do you feel uneasy? And I will do this. I was buying some food that I thought I probably needed. So sometimes I make 6 of these, but to make them bigger, I'm making these kind of like, you could think of these kind of like pancakes, kind of. All right, scoot over. We have to share the oil. Okay, so now I've given you this fry bread recipe. Let's see what's happening over here. This is my universal lid. Oh, it looks good. They're about $15 now. So I will put them on my pizza pan. I'm looking for these old-fashioned pans all the time, and I can't find them. The thing about the fry bread is if you have fry bread and tea, you can survive. And if you have some top ramen, so today I was stockpiling a little food too. We'll get into that in a minute. what I really don't want to do is stop. Oh, this fry bread's turning out good. Let me show you. Let's see what's going on here. See how nice and puffy it is? Some people puncture the puffs, but I don't want to. I want to keep them. All right. So, you guys saw yesterday, I'm so glad I did this. If something happened, God forbid, and you don't have flour and potatoes, it's going to be bad news. So you just want to make sure you have flour and potatoes. Once you make these a few times, they come out. You could save your oil too. Okay, so for the fry bread, 1 cup flour, any kind, 1 1/2 teaspoons baking powder. So this is a half a batch, and I use 1 teaspoon baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon salt. That's the same as for a big, a full-on batch. And I had a lot of powdered milk, so I used a 1/4 cup powdered milk. That's optional. You can make this with your whey, with buttermilk, with milk. So, okay, I mixed all the dry ingredients, including the evaporated milk, and then I added 1 cup hot water. I just heated it hot in the microwave. You mix it together to form a soft ball dough, and then you just put a little oil in a bowl, and you turn it around to get it nice and oily, because you're going to fry it in oil, and then you fry it, and that's this. Ooh, these are turning out really good. Might as well get them nice. And here's some tea I made. This tea is a rich cranberry green tea. So this is 4 cups, and I use 3 tea bags. So this is awesome. So, okay. All right, now let me go over to the food real quick. So, top ramen with hot dogs and fry bread and tea. So I'm doing like heftier meals at midday and then a smaller meal at night. I actually like to eat 2 meals a day, not 3. But I want to include breakfast in this video. Pretend hard times are coming. God forbid. Okay, so I could have had rice in the middle, cooked rice, 3 tablespoons with a fried egg on top. That would have been good. I do that sometimes. And then I could have had a can of sardines. I like these with rice on the side. That would be good. Or I could have had, so on my top ramen, I could have had instant potatoes, so I stockpile these. Here they are. Just whatever is one serving. Ooh. Oh, this one turned out really good. This one turned out really good too. Gee, I'm like an Indian. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so it could have been an egg on top of rice. It could have been mashed potatoes and hot dogs or some kind of cheap meat. So the sides are potatoes, rice, or pasta. So with the pasta, you could make some tuna casserole. Okay, so the top ramen is kind of like pasta. Okay, now think about cheap meat. Bacon, tuna, I included eggs, hot dogs. Okay, if you get one of those cheap spaghetti mixes or a can of spaghetti, you could put your hot dogs in your spaghetti. sardines, pork sausages. So I found 12 for $3.12. I said it was $2 when I was delirious at 4 or 5 in the morning. That's why I'm trying to do these earlier. Luncheon meat, like what luncheon meat? Like Dollar Tree luncheon meat. That's a cheap, that would taste good in top ramen. Oh, let me put the meats out here, the cheap meats. This is the sardines, and this is the 2 cans of tuna I bought, and I will give you a recipe for that in a minute. Ooh, my fry breads are perfection. Ooh, this one turned out really good. If you fry them a little bit more, then they're going to be for sure done. Okay. Teenagers could be taught to make this. And this gets into what brought this video on in a minute. Okay, so bacon, tuna, eggs, hot dogs, sardines, pork sausages, luncheon loaf, and cheese. All right. I gave you this, but I'll just make sure you get it. So this is why, as long as you have bread. Also, potatoes are important. We'll go into that in a minute. So I mix my dry ingredients with this whisk, and then I made a well, and I put the wet ingredients, and then I just wet the dough and put it in oil, a little oil, and let it set. Let me give you the salmon ball. Okay, salmons are cheap. Salmon cans. Debone, onion, 1 egg, or if you have cream cheese or the homemade sour cream, I'll give you that. 2 slices of bread. Otherwise, just mix everything up and add breadcrumbs little by little, garlic, and 2 tablespoons mayo, or you can use all homemade butter. I'm probably gonna make that, you know, it goes further, it's more nutritious and cheaper than margarine. So you might be thinking, why be so cheap? I don't know, probably because I was a hairdresser all my life, and when it goes slow, guess what happens to people doing hair and nails and makeup when there's a bad recession? Oh, I just can't imagine what's going to happen. I actually did well during recessions, but that is because I lived in such a way that I wouldn't be devastated if it was slow. Okay, so now that's the salmon ball, but for the homemade sour cream or butter, and I keep frozen cream cheese in the freezer. 2 liters milk, and heat it to boiling, and add 1 teaspoon salt. Then it's very hot, it's boiling, and you add 2 tablespoons of lemon, or if you have vinegar. If you have fresh lemon, that's better yet. I'm lucky my son has a lemon tree. Okay, so then your milk will curdle. I use this kind of milk, it works fine. Or shelf-stable milk from Dollar Tree. Better get some while it's $1.25. Then, okay, you remove the curds and put it in your blender. Add 100 grams of melted butter. At most, I add a half a cube, but usually I use around 2 tablespoons. Add 2 spoons of sour cream. You can freeze your sour cream and blend. And then I freeze them. Let's see if I can show you. I think I have some in here. Where are you? Oh, I can't find them right now, but they're in here somewhere. Anyway, I just cut them in like cubes and I freeze them. So let me give you these 2 recipes. This is for the butter, and I've given it to you a lot, but be patient, because when things get really, really horrible then somehow the people who really need these videos find them. And sometimes people watch my videos for years and then they stop and they come back. So hi, if you're back. Oh, this one turned out really good. Oh, this one's not turning out too shabby either. Okay, so imagine you're kind of really totally broke and you make a batch of these with some tea. Those are so good. If you've never made them, try. I'm big on sausages and hot dogs. If you follow me, you might be thinking, you eat a lot of sausages and hot dogs. Yeah, that's true, and I'm no worse for the wear. I'm the healthiest 70-year-old I know. I don't know any. Okay, and then I like pepper and a little salt. So when the pandemic came up, I bought big containers of baking powder. I stockpiled salt. Probably the next thing I'm probably going to want to stockpile, another minute, is sugar, because during the Depression there wasn't enough sugar, or meat. Yeah. So, here's the oats. I'm eating the ones I have down, but then I'll buy the big bags from Smart and Final. So start out with the free bags at the food pantry if you don't have much money, or if your radar is up and you're a senior. Uh-oh, there was a rubber band here. It's lucky I didn't catch it on fire. Okay, so oatmeal, 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup evaporated milk, powdered milk, 1/4 cup, I bought these today for $5, walnuts, and then, so this is breakfast, and you might think that's a lot. Yeah, but when you start eating it every day, it's not a lot. And then, I keep the raisins and the nuts in the refrigerator. And then 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup raisins, and 1/2 cup walnuts, or any nuts. And then 1.5 cups water. So these are all 1/4 cup. And you'll have a nice big pan of oatmeal, and you won't go hungry. Another thing is you'll not be penniless. Okay, now what I'm having for dinner is what I did was I bought these really good hamburgers. I bought these, I don't know where they are. Anyway, they were good hamburgers. So last night I had a hamburger, and then I had half of a spaghetti squash. So we'll get into that. So since I'm having such a big lunch, I'm going to have kind of a small dinner. So for dinner, okay, let's get some ketchup on my hot dogs. It's the way I like to eat them. And then if I can easily find it, I like to have hot sauce or Tabasco. This is good hot sauce. So 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you might be going, why 5? I don't know. That's the way I learned it. That is the way I eat it. So these top ramens are plenty. I think I'm gonna stockpile up top ramen. They don't go bad. Okay, now I have plans for this tuna. 84 cents. I bought it at Ralph's. I like Ralph's. I don't remember putting salt. I like salt on the hot dogs. All right, now what I'm gonna make, not tonight because I'm having, I bought these good hamburgers, 4 for $5 at Ralph's. What I did is I waited until I was really, really hungry and I go, oh, this smells so good. Tuna milk. Okay, what I do is I open this and I squeeze all the liquid out, and then I rinse it a couple times and I squeeze the liquid out until my tuna is dry. Then I add 1/4 cup fine diced onions, but I usually use dry chives. Not a tablespoon, I just sprinkle a liberal amount on there. It calls for 1 tablespoon dill, but I use garlic, salt, and pepper, no salt. And then 3 tablespoons of mayo, but it can be cream cheese or the butter, which is like sour cream. And then you make it into a patty, a nice big patty, because these cans are 5 ounces, so you're going to have at least 4 ounces of meat. Then you can melt some Swiss cheese on top, and you have bread. So here is that. And then I'm having squash at night. So what I'm doing is I'm eating anything I want one meal, and then at one meal I'm having kind of a low carb meal. Not for lunch though, not today. All right. We don't know what's coming. Nobody does. There are places in the world right now that are just downright unsafe. All right, yesterday I mentioned to you that I bought better quality cornmeal, because if you have to eat beans and you have good cornmeal, that's going to happen. And I started going for better beans. I like these little ones with an assortment. These aren't so cheap. I will buy a big bag. And I usually mix, I put water on these little beans. You don't have to soak them. That's something I like. I put water, salt, pepper, garlic, salt, onions, and then I just cook them down. Or ham. Okay, notice I started covering my expensive nuts with foil. All right, now, so this is a pretty good lunch. I'm not going to be suffering. All right. Three basic things you need to survive: water, food, and shelter. So I'm filling my water bottles up 2 a day. Or if I didn't have any water, I would buy 2 a day. But if you refill them, they've gone from 35 cents to 50 cents. All right, now if you should be looking in the direction of homelessness, you would contact the County Department of Human or Social Services, and you would ask them for some kind of direction to the shelters. I think it would be better to live part-time in the shelters. Okay, nonprofits, libraries, and food pantries and churches. They have good resources. Sometimes they help you find a job. All right, now think about a shelter. In the day, it was caves or rock dwellings. Okay, my family had little rock houses, very tall, small, like the size of this small kitchen. People used to have big families and small dwellings. Egypt made mud bricks. The Netherlands, I think it was, they had huts. There was pits. They built a roof on, like building into like digging holes, and then they put a roof. I hope none of us ever need it, but keep that in mind. There was log cabins, and then what I saw on the way home today was a teepee. I said, you know, think about the pilgrims. Some of them died of exposure, pneumonia. Now the Indians were nomadic and would move to warmer regions. But basically, here is my son. I took a picture, but my son said, don't post it because that's somebody's home. I thought, yeah, that's true. So we have a lot of Indians, but I doubt it was the Indians from here because they all get money and loads of it. So it was 3 long sticks, one in the front, one in the back. You know, one went up the back, one stick was in the front, one stick was in the back, and then there was a tarp in the front, and it looked like blankets on the sides, and then there was some bags. I think this part was actually some kind of plastic bags. So that is better. I mean, out here they sleep out in the elements. So this is like an example of how some people are going to survive. So then there was log cabins, and now there's cars. Okay, if I really had to live in a vehicle, I kind of know how to do it, because when my husband used to like to live in his van. So that is what, you know, the vans where the back of the van's open, and his vans, which were kind of like his home, were vans with sleeping bags. So I think that's a way to do it. So, and if you can find used ones, all the much better. So be thinking about food, water, and shelter. Okay, now about food. Okay, storable food and cheap food. I want to think about that. Let me give you a list. Uh-oh, it got wet. This is the food storage from yesterday, so take a look at this. And since yesterday, there's been a bit of an evolution, like instead of buying bulky cans, I want to buy big bags. So this isn't that big, and dehydrate fruit like peaches, pears, figs. So, and then these are really good, but this is $10. These are good. I gave my friend some. But what's good about this is there's coconuts. So what I want to do is pursue some coconuts. So what I've done is I've gone to dry fruit. And the other thing is, oh, what did I do? Okay, so I'll tell you what I remember. Okay, I went to grocery outlet today to get the dry fruit. So now I go, wow, you know, I feel a bit uneasy. The other thing was root foods. So here is some root foods. So it's gonna be more, I'm not saying no cans, but I'm saying growing food and root foods. Okay, I have some squash, some sweet potatoes, some potatoes, and some various peppers, which I will grow. And see these little ones? Okay, I planted some in my dirt, And this is what happened. So these can be grown in a windowsill and a deck. You don't want to be out of potatoes. And I will show you what the pests did. This is why I'm putting them in the front yard. See the little ones that are all chewed off? That is what they're doing in the middle of the night. And here's one. And then I took these out of the ground because something was eating them. I'm not sure what these plants are. They're going in the greenhouse. So being determined to learn how Lava Lindy's Van Adventures is growing food in her. So at night I'm having a meat and like a half a squash, a sweet potato, or some potatoes. And maybe some salads. So the evolution was dehydrated fruit and long-lasting root foods. Okay, no. The dry fruit, because fruit is hard to grow, and nuts. Thinking about nuts growing. One of the easiest seeds and nuts is sunflower seeds. Potatoes, yams, sweet potatoes, rutabagas, turnips, parsnip, pumpkins, making pumpkin seeds, cabbage, carrots, and onion. And then for the fruit, some of the longest lasting are lemons, limes, oranges, and grapefruit, which you can freeze the juice. And I do have some frozen juice in there. And then nuts and oil. Some of the easiest things they say to grow are sunflowers, lettuce. That's really true. You just get your romaine lettuce, cut the leaves off, and put the end in some water. It'll start growing. I had some nice ones going. Something's eating my celery. Peas, radishes, and turnips. I did successfully grow those, and beans. I did successfully grow them, but something ate them. So those are things I know. I saw rabbits in the parking lot. I had some squirrels in my backyard. I know I have birds. I know I have a lot of lizards. I know I have stink bugs, which are not good. So I am going to address these problems, not today. Okay, so now I want to talk about how right now we're at, there's these levels of threats. There's green, which is low. There's blue, there's guarded, and we're at yellow now, elevated. There's orange, high, and red, severe. So we know that. So we're going, well, all I'm doing mainly is I'm trying to eliminate a lot of spending, and I'm trying to stockpile food in case something happens. So this all started by, I caught a glimpse of a teepee, and I thought, some people are going to survive so much better. And the crazy part is there's hundreds and hundreds of street people and one teepee that could be made by about 2 blankets and some trash bags. Okay, now, like what kind of threats? So, level 4, we're at 3. Level 4 would be do not travel. Now, know this. If we hit a level red, that the U.S. government has a limited ability to assist us. People think that's okay, FEMA will come, welfare. Well, you just don't know. Okay, now, the problem is, now this is a big threat. We have this interconnected global economy. So one of the things about the Depression is it was a worldwide depression. So when the whole world gets involved, like the pandemic, trouble ensues. Rapid advances in technology. The Russians recently revamped some of their old weapons and created glide bombs. I think it was the Russians. cyber attacks. Okay, like what? Like nuclear, like knocking our solar out. Like, how about this? Disinformation operation. So, okay, well, why is that so dangerous? Okay, this is the age of deception. Some of the most deceptive people on the planet are these supposed prophets. And what they do is they attack every religious group and they say, this woman is not a prophet. And I'm thinking, what about you, actually? So, and another thing is like they take the Bible and they say, this is the way it is. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, do we see killing? Senseless killing? Do we see, bad stuff like that? Okay, so disinformation is the age of deception. Okay, like, do we believe even these levels of threat? Do we believe everything we see? Okay, coordinated efforts to damage the economy or harm our democracy. Well, yeah, because countries could band together. We're in a trade war. Okay, we try to wreck their economy. They try to wreck our economy. There's fighting like in the way of like wars, and then there's the fighting like we're grabbing your resources. That's fine. We're grabbing your resources. We're just taking them. We're using your resources for what we consider a good use. That could lead us to some kind of a thing where economies would pull their resources out of our country, but luckily for us, where are you going to go? Okay, targeting critical infrastructure. Okay, we've had a couple of bridge problems. Whoops. Dams would be the worst. So we want to think about that. But the most important thing is food storage. Don't ever forget. Like, okay, I moved, and when I moved the food storage, it was pretty bad. But big bags of fruit, big bags of flour, you could be out within minutes. So I'm redoing my, you see these food storages with the cans and the bottles and the canned food. No, you want, like in the day, the ranchers and the farmers, make sure you have seeds. Last night so what I did is I planted all the seeds, and when I get a big plate, not a big plate, this is the spaghetti squash, which I'm excited. Squash seems to grow. Here is what they did to my soybean. It's got 2 little leaves. I have hopes for it. Here is the celery. See, it's starting to sprout. Those are growing good in my backyard. These are happy in my windowsill. And then this one's really amazing. I'm going to plant these in my greenhouse. I'm not sure what these are, any of them. But eventually, So you guys, that is that. Stockpile food, considered root foods, considered dry fruit. That's the easiest way to get a lot. And God bless you all. See you tomorrow.